Jefferson 38.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to communicate with the body.
Please proceed.
Thank you, sir. I do have a little talk here. It won't take very long. I want to talk about 3 pots of money that's out there that is tremendously available to us as a state. I want to talk about Kentucky being too late smart on a lot of issues. I'm convinced that there's $300 to $400 million of new money to be found. The governor has talked to us about his draconian budget, how we are about to cut education, how we're going to cut our universities, and a 7% or 6% cut across the board of all agencies. I want to talk about a little bit about history. You know, back in the year 2000, I remember when Louis Nunn wanted to do hemp, and I come in and I sponsored that and worked with Louis Nunn, and we couldn't do that because Canada had the marketplace and they were selling products all over the country, but Kentucky couldn't do hemp, and we weren't brave enough to jump on that and run with that. So as a result of that, our hemp industry is suffering. Too late, too smart to get into that game. I want to talk about casinos. You know, state of Kentucky has 4 casinos. They're just all on the wrong side of the river. We were too late smart on that one. And you know, I have people from folks that come to me from Jenkins, Kentucky. Jenkins, Kentucky. It's on the border of Letcher County in Virginia. And I believe that's in the senator from Letcher County's district. They came to me and they said, Dan, how about stimulating our economy? How about giving us some jobs and giving us the ability to have a casino? Well, apparently we can't do that. Going back several years ago when I filed the bill to legalize casinos, former Senator Chris Girdler came to me and can I co-sponsor that? He said, you know, I believe that a casino down on Lake Cumberland would be the thing to do. You know, we could have the Lake Tahoe of the West if we wanted to put a casino in Lake Cumberland. And wouldn't it be nice if my Churchill Downs could operate 365 days a year instead of 140 and create, and by the way, I'm going to use a term here, jobs without bribes. Think about it. Seems like every job we want to bring to the state of Kentucky, we got to bribe somebody to be here. You open the door to casinos, guess what? The jobs just show up. Jobs without bribes. I want to talk about cannabis. You know, we all know that 30 states have legalized it in one form or another. We also know that Canada has legalized it. We know that 6 countries in South America, including Colombia, has legalized it. We know that basically all of Europe has legalized it. The question are we going to be too late smart again? This is an interesting magazine here, Newsweek magazine. Weed, it's called. You know, is this the year cannabis changes forever? The History Channel, marijuana, the cannabis century, modern medicine, tomorrow's cash crop. And by the way, somebody messaged me, what about all that cash? One of my legislators did. What about all that cash? Well, let me tell you what. You put cash on top of the table, guess what? You get to tax it. It's under the table now. We don't get to tax it. You know, I met with the sports gaming people here a while back. Incidentally, not the sports gaming, but I met with lottery people a while back. The U.S. government or the Supreme Court is about to rule on the legalization of sports gaming. I met with the lottery and said, are you ready? for this. They just looked at me blank. Are you ready? For what? And I said, well, if we got sports gambling, we might want to be one of the first states to jump on that. We might want to generate that $100 million we think it might generate. Again, I think we're looking at $400 million of new money here. We don't have to pass any taxes. So I met with them, and they weren't in the game. They had no clue, but they're clued now, right? I want to talk about a young lady. You know, we didn't just willy-nilly on the cannabis issue decide to do this. This just didn't happen overnight, okay? We sent a team to Colorado with my designation and my orders. And my son Dan was one of those 4 people we sent to Colorado, and I said, here's what I want to know. I want to know, in Colorado, what bills they passed to legalize cannabis, and I want to know what mistakes they made, and I want to know what bill to file when I get back without making those mistakes. And one of the mistakes they made was legalizing the medical side of it first, because there's no money in it. It became very complicated. But they decided that they wanted to make the full thing, and they did. And they're going to generating something close to $200 million a year, I understand. And Colorado, by the way, has about the same population we have. But I'm going to tell you about Ashley Taylor. Ashley Taylor is an entrepreneurial refugee, if you will. Interesting term. Ashley is a graduate of, she grew up in Lexington. She's a graduate of Eastern Kentucky, and after she came out of college, she became a pharmaceutical salesperson. And in her travels, she realized that there was money to be made with another product. She opened her business in Colorado, and Ashley now today is a multimillionaire. She owns a grow factory. She owns 3 or 4 retail outlets, I understand. But Ashley got into a problem. Nobody in Colorado knew about cannabis like Kentuckians do, but after all, we grow the best. It's been out there, we grow the best. So then she said, well, where do I get the people to do this? So guess what she did? She came to Kentucky and she recruited 30 Kentuckians to move to Colorado to do her business. And she's been back here on several occasions now because she sees possibility, you know. Let me tell you what she sees. Franchising, folks. You will see franchises on this eventually, right in next to your wine store and your liquor store. Of course, in the state of Kentucky now, all of those franchises will be sitting right next to those casinos that are on the wrong side of the river because we're going to be too late smart. That's about all I've got to say on this issue. I worked very hard on this. We spent a lot of time and money, our own money, sending people to Colorado, researching this, being ready. Now, we will do cannabis in the state of Kentucky. We will legalize it. But I'm going to tell you when we will do that. We will be number 54 because we're going to be too late smart again. We will be number 54 after the other 49 states, after Mexico, after Canada, after D.C., and after Puerto Rico because we don't know how to get up front and run with the thing. I'm convinced that Kentucky has such an imprint on the worldwide with some of our products. Our Thoroughbred horses, we're well known for that. We are selling worldwide our bourbon. Kentucky's bourbon. Everybody knows that. And I told this young lady in Colorado, I said to her, here's what you want to do. I'm not sure we're smart enough in the state of Kentucky to take Kentucky Grows the Best and copyright it. You might want to do that in Colorado. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for their patience, and I was advised that I might make some people uncomfortable. But I would tell you what, I'm watching us struggle with a budget. I watched the House struggle with their budget, and it's going to be not an easy thing to do. But I'm convinced I'm the only guy in the state that's got a plan for new money. My 3 pots of money: cannabis, gaming, and sports gambling. Thank you so much, Mr. President.